Hello and welcome back to our Easter Sunday concert. We wanted to do some music for you with an Easter theme. Marcus should have been performing J.S. Bach's St Matthew Passion with the Britten Sinfonia today, Easter Sunday, in Snape Maltings, and he was also going to be doing performances with them in the Barbican and in Norwich during Holy Week. So we have decided to arrange an aria from the Matthew Passion. It's number 42, Gebt mir meinen Jesum wieder, give me my Jesus back. Now, in thinking about how to arrange it for piano accompaniment, I've had to engage with a few issues, and purists should perhaps look away now because we don't have a bass soloist, we don't have a string band, but we do have a violin soloist. In arranging the piano parts, I've tried to stay as close as possible to the original score. Sometimes I've had to change the octave of the bass vocal solo because what sounds good in a bass voice can sound very muddy on the piano. I've also had to think about articulation because when I'm trying to sound like a string band on the piano, I would play differently from if I was trying to sound like a bass soloist. We've also had to think about how to interpret this music. Some recordings and performances of this particular aria, the violinist will take a very rough-hewn approach to the violin part to reflect the context of what's going on in the music. Marcus is going to explain more about that to you in a minute. But we have looked at the musical language of this aria, and we feel that when Bach wants to be tortured and dark, he uses dark chromatic language, sinuous writing, but he's chosen in this aria to be very upbeat, to use diatonic language and to be very rhythmically taught, and so we've decided to take that joyful interpretation that Bach has put on these words and bring that into our interpretation. And so Marcus is going to tell you a little bit about the Britten Sinfonia performance that should have happened and also about the context of this aria.
Yes, I was very sad when this week's work of playing St Matthew Passion with the Britten Sinfonia, directed by the wonderful Jacqueline Shave, when all this was cancelled. But we're in the situation we're in, and we're trying to make the best of the situation and bring you a little bit of the spirit of Easter in the small way that we can. It would never normally occur to us in normal circumstances to arrange an aria from St Matthew's Passion for violin and piano. What a thought! But these aren't normal circumstances, so please bear with us. The aria we'd like to play, Gebt mir meinem Jesum wieder, comes from the point in the Passion where Judas Iscariot, who had previously been given 30 pieces of silver in order to have Jesus handed over, Judas goes back into the temple and he throws back those 30 pieces of silver at the feet of the chief priests. And to some extent this action and this movement of the throwing of the coins is reflected in a very athletic violin part, and indeed the violinist who first played the piece under Johann Sebastian Bach was a fencer. So you can imagine the vitality and the movement of those coins being thrown and hurled, and that's expressed by Bach in bariolage, which is very fast string crossing, and in fast moving scales up and down. And these scales or roulades could depict perhaps the rolling or the throwing of the coins. It is perplexing, as Christina alluded to, that we both find it perplexing, that the compositional mood is so brimming full of positive energy, and if you didn't know the text you might think it was incredibly buoyant and energetic and vital and joyous. It's hard to reconcile that with the darkness at this particular point in the Passion, so maybe the key to understanding it is less in the Judas and the throwing of the coins, but more in the first line of the aria, Gebt mir meinem Jesum wieder, give me my Jesus back. We don't know who's speaking at this point in the Passion, but if it's a bystander, somebody observing the action and imploring the chief priests for the freeing of Jesus, for the release of Jesus, Gebt mir meinem Jesum wieder, then maybe this in some way prefigures the freeing of Jesus in a different sense in the resurrection which Christians celebrate on Easter Sunday.